Hey there, and welcome to today's Explainer. While we were digging into the source material for this one, we stumbled onto some truly mind-blowing biological realities that we just absolutely have to explore together today. I mean, have you ever wondered why two people can eat the exact same food, but one of them just effortlessly loses weight while the other struggles immensely? We've been told for decades now that weight loss is just a simple math equation. But what if exactly when you eat is actually far more important than what you eat? Well, get ready because we are about to completely reframe your relationship with food and your body's internal clock.
Okay, let's dive into this. For decades, the nutritional dogma has just relentlessly focused on calorie counting and, carbohydrate restriction. The experts have basically told us over and over that a calorie is just a calorie and your body is nothing more than a simple furnace. The logic goes, if you burn more fuel than you consume, you lose weight, right? Well, modern biology is actually revealing a really inconvenient truth about that outdated advice. It is fundamentally wrong. Your body absolutely does not process energy the same way at all hours of the day.
See, the old rule treated your body like a basic calculator. It assumed that 500 calories of pasta eaten at noon is mathematically identical to 500 calories of that very same pasta eaten right before bed. But the new biology? It shows us that timing is literally everything. Your body is this highly sophisticated, incredibly rhythmic organism. It's governed by an ancient biological clock that's been fine-tuned by millions of years of human evolution. Right this very second, there is a master clock ticking inside of you, and it's directing a symphony of thousands of hormones. It's telling your organs when to work, when to rest, when to burn fuel, and crucially, when to store it. So I want to kind of shrink us down for a second, right, to the microscopic level and take a chronological journey through your own internal clock. If you make the decision to finish your last meal by 6 p.m., you aren't just skipping dessert. You're actually initiating what researchers like to call a biological handshake. You are telling your pancreas, your liver, and your brain that you are finally ready to cooperate with their ancient sunrise to sunset rhythms, rather than fighting against them like a rebellious teenager. So let's walk through exactly what happens inside of you hour by hour when you do this. All right, so right after you finish that 6 p.m. dinner, your digestion kicks into high gear, breaking all that food down into glucose. Your pancreas instantly senses this and releases insulin. Now, think of insulin kind of like a highly trained security guard. His main job is to safely guide that glucose into your cells so it can be used for energy. But here is the massive secret that most people completely miss. Insulin is also a super strict storage hormone. Whenever the security guard is on duty, he strictly locks the doors to your fat stores. You physically cannot burn stored fat while your insulin levels are high. It's impossible. Your body is either in consumption mode or it's in burning mode. It just cannot do both at the same time. And this brilliantly illustrates what happens as the clock ticks forward to 9 p.m. A totally fascinating evolutionary clash happens right around now. By this time, it's getting dark out, and a tiny gland in your brain begins secreting melatonin to prep you for deep, restorative sleep. But evolutionarily speaking, melatonin and insulin, they are like two roommates who absolutely cannot stand each other. Because for hundreds of thousands of years, humans didn't have artificial lights or 24/7 refrigerators. When it got dark, we simply didn't eat. Because of this really deep evolutionary programming, when melatonin rises, it literally tells your pancreas to just slow down. Your body actually becomes naturally insulin resistant at night. It's basically shouting, hey, it is not time to digest, it is time to sleep. So keeping that intense evolutionary clash in mind, I want you to ask yourself, what exactly happens inside the body when you decide to eat a supposedly harmless 10 p.m. snack? Maybe just a handful of crackers or a quick bowl of cereal. I want you to imagine the absolute hormonal chaos you're causing. You are literally forcing an exhausted, super sluggish insulin security guard to work overtime when he's already put his pajamas on and been told to go home by melatonin. As you might guess, that 10 p.m. snack becomes a massive metabolic disaster. Because your entire system is already sluggish, the sugar from that late-night snack just lingers in your bloodstream way, way longer than it ever should. And that lingering sugar, it causes a ton of unnecessary inflammation and oxidative stress. Eventually, because your tired system just can't efficiently process that energy into your muscle cells, it takes the easiest, laziest route possible. It dumps that excess energy straight into your belly fat. Literally, by eating late, you completely derail your body's natural nighttime metabolic potential. And when we say belly fat, we are specifically talking about visceral fat. Now, this isn't just the soft, pinchable fat under your skin. No, visceral fat is the deep, highly dangerous stuff packed tightly around your major internal organs, like your liver and your intestines. It's exactly the kind of fat that drives heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and metabolic syndrome. But here is the truly incredible news. While it absolutely is the most dangerous fat, it is also highly responsive to fasting. It is literally the very first fuel source your body targets when insulin finally stays low. So the crucial point is this. If you stop eating at 6 p.m., by the time midnight rolls around, your insulin guard has completely left the building. The doors to your fat stores just swing wide open. And because there's absolutely no new glucose coming in from your digestive tract, your metabolism brilliantly flips a switch. Your liver quietly starts converting that dangerous stored visceral fat into these little molecules called ketones, just to keep your heart beating and your lungs breathing while you dream. Think about that. You are literally excavating energy straight from your belly while you sleep. Fast forward with me to those quiet, early morning hours of 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., and another magical player enters the scene, human growth hormone, or HGH. This is basically the ultimate anti-aging hormone, but it operates totally inversely to insulin. It can only reach its peak when insulin is completely absent from your system. So when HGH floods your system during a nighttime fast, it sends a very strict message to your cells. It says, do not touch the muscle mass. It acts as this incredible protective shield around your metabolically active muscle, directing the body to exclusively burn fat for fuel. You are quite literally reshaping your body composition while you're tucked in bed. And while you're busy burning fat, your body is also repairing itself through a process called autophagy. Think of autophagy as your nighttime cellular cleaning crew. The word itself literally translates to self-eating. Your cells act like these super diligent custodians, sweeping up damaged proteins, fixing cellular debris, and recycling absolute garbage to prevent disease and optimize your body from the inside out. But just like a real-world restaurant, the deep cleaning crew cannot mop the floors if you keep letting customers in to eat mozzarella sticks, right? The very second you consume food, autophagy is immediately shut down.
So by the time the sun actually comes up at 6 a.m., you've been fasted for exactly 12 hours. And the biological benefits of that are just incredible. Your body has successfully achieved what researchers call metabolic flexibility. That's the rare ability to seamlessly switch from burning food to burning stored fat. And because you've been feasting on your own stored energy all night long, your primary hunger hormone, ghrelin, is beautifully regulated. So instead of waking up starving, shaky, and dealing with brain fog, you wake up with stable energy, a clear head, and surprisingly, you're not even that hungry. Now, I know exactly what you might be thinking right now. The science is absolutely amazing, but hey, we live in the real world. We have active social lives, late work meetings, and family dinners that just don't always run on a perfect, predictable schedule. How on earth do we practically pull off the 6 p.m. rule in a busy modern society without completely upending our entire lives? Well, don't worry at all. I am definitely not suggesting you isolate yourself or skip out on living your life. Instead, let's walk through some highly actionable, super practical biological hacks to make this actually work for your specific lifestyle. Okay, here is your practical survival guide to the modern evening. Step 1 is something I like to call the tea trick. Right around 8 p.m., you'll probably feel a sudden pang of hunger. But listen to me, it's almost always just a psychological habit, not real biological hunger. You can combat this easily by brewing a hot cup of caffeine-free chamomile or peppermint tea. The warmth and the liquid physically fill your stomach. They satisfy that behavioral ritual of having a nighttime treat, and usually within about 15 minutes, that fake hunger just totally vanishes. Step 2. Dim the lights. Protect that precious melatonin production by turning off those bright overhead LEDs and maybe throwing on some blue light blockers after 8 p.m. And finally, step 3, shift gradually. Please don't jump straight to 6 p.m. if you normally eat at 9 p.m. Just shift your dinner time back by maybe 30 minutes a week. Aim for consistency, not perfection here. Even just 5 or 6 days a week of this is enough to see absolutely incredible metabolic changes. Which really brings us to the absolute core message of this entire explainer. You are not a victim of your metabolism. Seriously, stubborn belly fat and metabolic dysfunction, they are often really just symptoms. They are cries for help from a body that is almost never given a single moment to rest. By simply skipping the late-night eating, you grant your body the 12 to 14 hours of biological silence it desperately needs to heal, to clean up, and to burn fat. You quite literally hold the daily power to rewrite your own metabolic destiny. So I just have to ask you, what time are you going to finish eating tonight?